our previous sessions. Umoren Share from Niger, thank you very much for joining in today. Thank you very much. I know you're going to have a very wonderful time with Dr. Sofian today. And don't for those who have been with us from the beginning, hope you have started submitting your assignments. Hope you have started writing your research article. Marcel from Makadi, thank you for joining today's session. You're going to have a wonderful time today. Don't worry, I trust that. So, like I said, if you are joining us for the very first time, I want you to drop your favorite emoji. I'll be expecting your responses in the chat section. Drop your favorite emojis if you're a newbie. And if you have been with us from the very beginning, I want you to tell me your expectations for today and your experiences so far. But Betabasi Daniel, you came last session. I want you to drop your experiences so far and what you're expecting from us today so that we can do better for the next session. So in the next 2 minutes, as I'm waiting your responses, I will call in Dr. Sofian as he takes us on another relax and take note of questions. All right. So I'm expecting your responses again in the chat section. If you are joining us for the very first time, dropping your favorite emoji with us from the very beginning. I want you to please tell me your expectations for today, your experiences so far, your name, and where you are joining us from. Okay, we have 1 more minute for Dr. Sofian to take in. 1 more minute. I'll be expecting your responses in the chat section. Marcel, okay, you're a newbie. Nice one. All right. So don't worry. Our recorded sessions are already on our YouTube channel. So the link will be sent to us. Our assignment, we will definitely send you the link to submit your assignment. The attendance link will also be sent. Don't worry. So just sit back and enjoy today's session. I promise it's going to be wonderful as usual. All right. So Dr. Sofian, it's now time. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Folasrua, for this introduction, and welcome everyone to the 5th sessions of the Masterclass research. So I'm happy another time to join you for this session, and I hope that you like it. So I've got your submission, and I appreciate your work. So I have here, I've printed your methodology work, and I can see that I have different domains and different research areas, and I'm really happy. So I'm also learning from your submissions. It's great, and this is what DSN want to do, to have this spirit, to have this spirit of research, and to have or to build a community of researchers in Africa and also in the worldwide. So thank you so much for your submission. Just I have some remarks or just suggestions. So I'm not going to reply for everyone for the methodology, because it's I don't want to give you another work this week, because I want just to I want from you to focus on, for example, for this week, to focus on only the results and discussion section. Okay, and after that I will collect your full paper, because we still have now 3 weeks. Okay, this week and 2 other weeks, 2 other sessions. Okay, and after that I will collect your full paper. Okay, and we are going to work on that together. So what I'm proposing is for by the end of the all the sessions. So for every one of you, you need to create a file or a LaTeX file on Overleaf, okay, and try to share it with me, okay, so I can do some modifications with you, give you some suggestions, etc. So this is what I'm proposing. So I think that you like this method or this working strategy that we intend to do. And yes, so let's start now this session. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I have here the PowerPoint. Okay, good. So just give me a second here. Okay, so I hope that you can see the screen. Okay, so it's up. So let's start this session. This is the fifth week. Okay, so just a reminder of our goal as usual. The goal is, of course, to write a research paper at the end of the research masterclass. So this is our goal, and I would like for everyone to do this because it's an opportunity for you. And yes, just take it, and I'm going to help you. So DSN is offering, of course, this opportunity. So try to get it and to get some profits from it. So the agenda of the research masterclass. So now we are on the week fifth. Okay. So today we intend to see how to write the results and discussion section. So last week we knew how to write the methodology section. Okay, so now the goal is to know how to start writing the results and discussion session. So just as a reminder for the new one, who the people who joined from this session, so for the new people who just joined for this week, please try to follow us from the first week. Okay, and yes, you still you still have the chance to do the submissions and submit to the form that we are going to share with you. So you still have this opportunity, and I will do revisions for everyone who sent us by the end of this research masterclass sessions, who sent us the full paper. So yes, DSN will support that. So just a reminder, so academic literacy, so it's being proficient in reading or writing research paper, and of course writing in formal English. So in the second week, what we did in the second week is that we come with a research area or research topic, and by the end we transformed this research topic into a research question. So now everyone has a research question. So this is the goal, that everyone has the research question. So we also saw what is the difference between a conference paper and a journal paper. So we said that journal papers usually are longer than conference papers, and we saw also what is the difference between a research paper and a survey paper, and we said that a research paper is a representation of a new method, a new approach. Okay, but the survey paper is a, let's say, a literature review or a review of the existing or the state of the art methods. Okay, so this is the idea, or that was the idea of the second week's research masterclass. And also we provided some databases, or where you can find articles. So we said that you can find article on Google Scholar, on Scopus, on Web of Science, on Springer, on, so you have different data sets there, but these are the major data sets. Okay, so in the third week we presented how to write, or the what we should have before writing the academic paper, the materials that we should have, okay? And we said that we need to summarize some papers, okay? After that, we'll open the Word file and start typing our ideas and start rephrasing some ideas. And yes, we need just we need, after reading, we need to write, we need to do some paraphrasing. And I showed you in the third week a tool or a translator called deepl.com. So using that translator, you can do some paraphrasing. Okay, so all you need to do is to write an English sentence, to translate it into a language, and to reverse translation to come up with a brand new phrase. So that was the idea. Last week, we presented the strategy on how to write the methodology for both the research paper and the survey paper, and that's what you submitted as a assignment. Okay, so some of you submitted the research paper methodology, and some of you, of course, submit the survey paper methodology. We will continue in that pipeline, okay? And we'll do the same thing for the results and discussion. Of course, you need to, for example, for people who let's say, for people who already has their method, okay, or the people who want to write a research paper. So you usually, or you should have already some results, okay? So you have some results. For people who are writing the surveys, so I will show you how to find these results and how to write this results in discussion sections, okay? So today's agenda is as follows. So as I said, we'll start with writing the results and discussion for a research article, and I will show you the, let's say, the section and the structure of that section of results and discussion, how to write it, okay? And also we'll see two kinds of survey articles, okay? So for people who already want to write a survey article, so you have two different ways. Either you have, or you want to, you have different data sets, okay, and you want to try, okay, different state-of-the-art methods using these data sets. You may use only one data set, okay, or two, with two or three state-of-the-art methods, okay. The other one is to have, but just to note, you should use the same experimental protocol for all the methods and all the data sets, okay. For example, you will start with a data set, and you need to apply or to train different methods on that data set, okay, and use the same experimental protocol with the other data sets, okay. And I will show you how to report that. The let's say the other way to do this is to do it, but with different experimental protocols, okay. So we have here two ways, okay. Let's start by some generalities, and I will show you an example of that by the end of this session, okay. So in general, the results and discussion sections are one of the challenging sections to write. It's let's say it's the most important thing in science, okay. So in science, I'm not talking about mathematics or philosophy, or I'm talking about experimental protocols, etc., okay. So the most important thing is to do some experiments, okay, come up with results, okay, and discuss these results. So this is the most important thing. So based on that results, the discussion, or we write the discussion section, and we discuss, and of course we conclude with some perspectives, okay. So this is the most important thing. So It's important to plan this section carefully as it may contain a large amount of scientific data that needs to be presented in a clear and concise fashion. So to present this data, so we have different ways. So for example, in computer science, we usually present data into two forms. Either we present it using tables, okay, or using some graphs like curves or something. So it depends on the domain, but usually we present data in tables, okay. So the purpose of the results and, or I'm talking here about results section, is to present the key results of your research, as I said. So now results in discussion can either be combined into one section or organized as separate sections. Also, okay, so we can use them, we can combine them into one section or separate them. So it depends on the requirements of the publisher. I mean, the journal that you, for example, you want to publish your paper, or the conference. So it depends on the publisher. But usually we can combine them into only one section. So in the results and discussion, so you need to use some subsections. So we will see that after this, subsections and subheadings to improve the readability and clarity. For example, if you have a data set that you want to describe, you should put it into a subsection, okay. And also, for example, for the environments where you do your or you did your research, so you should to describe the environments, okay. So it's really important. So you should also to number all tables and figures with descriptive titles. So every table or figure need to be presented with a, let's say, a descriptive title. So we need a descriptive title that can tell exactly what the figure or what the table is about. So after that, you can present your results as figures and tables and point the reader of course, to relevant items while discussing the results. So now the section of results and discussions should, of course, highlight significant or interesting findings along with, let's say, p-values for statistical tests. Okay, so we need to highlight the findings. So when we come with results, okay, so we need to do some conclusions. We need to have something. So, and to do this conclusion, we'll start with what we did in the second week, the research question. Okay, so we already had a research question. We'll come with hypothesis in the introduction next week, how to write the hypothesis. Okay, but we need to do here some, let's say, to highlight some the findings based on the results. So also be sure to include negative results and highlight potential limitation of the paper. So it's really important to have some critics. You need to criticize your work after that. Okay, so you need to come up with a negative points of some negative points of your work. So you will need that for future work. Okay, so you need to mention that and to say that yes, as a perspective, we'll try to improve this because of this. Okay, so this is the idea. So it depends on your domain. So as I said, you will be criticized by the reviewers if you don't discuss the shortcoming of your research. So you need to talk about your future work, because you already did a work and you need to I'm not talking about detailing that and talking about it in, no, just in one or two sentences. So we will do that and that and that. We'll try to improve that. We'll try to highlight this field or something like that. So that's what we need to do after that. So in general, the results and discussion section of your research papers should include the following sections. Okay, so I'm not talking about the section, but the concepts. Okay, so the first one is the findings. So the findings are based on your results. So you will have, or you already had some results. So you should talk about them, because I will just give you an example. So for my in my PhD thesis, I was working on voice recognition, on speaker recognition. Okay, so my idea was to lower and to reduce the so-called equal error rate. So that was the idea, to reduce it. Okay, so my goal was to how to find the speaker's specific features. Okay, so I do in the introduction, I wrote in the introduction a hypothesis that every speaker has a speaker some its specific features. Okay, so this is a hypothesis. I draw it in the introduction. After that, after reducing the equal error rates and following a methodology, okay, I don't have too much time to explain. By following a methodology, I concluded that yes, using the data sets that I used, okay, and this methodologies, I can say that yes, it's true. This let's say this methodology or these findings, let's say, reassure the methodology. So they are reassuring the hypothesis, and and the let's say, and what how to say that, and let's say, giving some insights for doing the same thing with a larger data set, to draw some general conclusion. So this is the idea of highlighting your findings. So you should talk about your findings. The other one is the most important one, is to compare your results with prior studies. So if you are working on, for example, on computer vision, okay, so you should compare your method, your proposed method, with the state-of-the-art methods using the same data set in the same experimental protocol. Okay. So I mean, but experimental protocol is the setup. Okay. So you need to use the same environment, the same methodology of or the pipeline of training data. So you should use the same thing to to be able to compare your results and to draw some conclusions. After that, of course, you should talk about your the limitations of your work. For example, let's go back to the example that I gave you about speaker recognition. Among the limitations of my work was the let's say the too much so the time consuming. So my method was let's say time consuming. So it was trained with a month in a high powerful GPU. So it took too much to train that model. So it's not good, because if you want to add, for example, another speaker, so it's going to take the same time, a month. So it's a limitation. So you should criticize your work and talk about this. And of course, you should use some casual arguments. So we'll see some example of that. And yes, you should do some deductive arguments after the casual argument. So let's start from the findings. So for example, I can say, from the short review above, emerge, okay, or we describe the results of something which show that something. Okay, so these are some let's say some phrases or some models that we can use. So for example, this suggests that we showed that our findings on that, at least hints that. Okay, so this is important. This is, for example, an important finding in the understanding of the problem, for example, of natural language processing. I don't know. So let's say, for example, the present study confirmed the finding about something. So these just are some examples that you can use in your results in discussion. So for example, another promising finding was that, so our results demonstrated that, and this is the most used one, our result demonstrated that from the table, or from the table number 2, that. So this is some kind of, okay, because it's formal English. Okay, okay, I think that's okay, I think that I had a internet problem. Okay, so it's really important to use that. Okay, because it's really important, and you are showing the reviewer that you are capable of writing a formal. You are showing him that you are proficient. Okay, not a beginner or something like that, but you should use some words of this. You can take some screenshots, or you will have that recorded, of course, on YouTube, and you can use this. For example, to compare the your results with the prior studies. I'm here talking about, so either you have a method, or you propose method, or you want to compare the stage of the arts method. So you can use the same thing. For example, the results demonstrate in this chapter match stage of the art method. For example, here we compare the results of the proposed method with those of traditional methods. These results go beyond previous reports showing that. Okay, so just try to use one of these, or combine a couple of these lines. In line with previous studies, for example, this result ties well with previous studies wherein, okay, contrary to the findings of something, we did not find that. Okay, so just try to use this models. Okay, for example, for surveys, you can say others have shown that. Okay, it improved that, by comparing the results from, we hope to determine. Okay, so just try to use them. Okay, so for the limitations of your work, and this is really important. For example, if you don't have too much data. Okay, and this is a among my problems that I had in my research. So because of the lack of data, we decided not to investigate this method or something like that. Okay, one concern about the findings of that was that we tested the data set, or we trained our model on a smaller data set. Okay, so you should have the spirit of critics. Okay, because of this potential limitation, we create that, for example, we just use a small data set. The limitation of the present studies naturally include, so yes, you need to use one of these limitations. Okay, so here you have all the limitations. Okay, for example, for casual arguments, you can say a popular explanation of that is, for example, a popular explanation of our overfitting problem is that we used only 100 samples in our training data set. Okay, it is not by now generally accepted that, for example, yes, you can use a lot of this models and this one. So it is notable that, for example, as an important question associated with here, you can introduce your research question again and put it, and yes, discuss or base the discussion based on this. Okay, so yes, this is just in general. Okay, for example, and this is the last one. So a difference between this, okay, something can only be attributed to. Nonetheless, we believe that it is well justified to. So yes, you have all these models, and if you take, for example, from the findings until the deductive arguments, and you take two, for example, two models from each one, you will come up with a proficient, let's say, results in discussion. Okay, and after that, I will show you how to have a table and how to have a results, how to present the results. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the general structure of the results and discussion section. Okay, so try to use this for either you are writing a survey or a research paper. So the first one, you need to talk about the corpus. Okay, so you may need, I'm here talking about most of you, because most of you are working on computer science problems. Okay, I'm talking about computer science, so you will need, of course, data. Okay, so the first one is to do or to have a section of the corpus, the use corpus, the use data set, the data set that you are using in your research. If you have several data sets, you can uh, give, or you can make that in one section with paragraphs. Each paragraph will be dedicated for a data set. Okay, after that, you should describe the environments. For example, if you are using a computer, you can say that, yes, I am using, I developed this method, I trained this method or this model on the computer, for example, HP, that has the CPU, for example, 3.2 gigahertz, that has 16 giga of RAM, GB of RAM. I don't know, that has, for example, the GPU or NVIDIA or the GTX 1060 or something like that. So just try to describe the environment where you run your, for example, if you are working on chemistry, you can describe the laboratory or the environment where you already did that. So for example, the degrees, the temperature degrees, and I don't know, I don't know too much about chemistry, but you can describe this. Okay, so this is, you should dedicate this section to describe the environments where you already did your experimental protocol. Now you should have uh, in experimental protocol section, which is your setup, how you set up your methodology. Okay, so for example, in speech in general, for example, you will have, or just will give you the example. For example, in the methodology, if you follow the a pipeline in the methodology, for example, this pipeline, for example, if you have it in three stages, for example, the first stage was the feature extraction, the middle stage was the let's say the training, or the model, training the model, and the final stage was, for example, the scoring. So for the feature extraction, you, for example, if you use the methods of, you, let's say, a literature method or stage of the art method in the feature extraction, in the environment, in the setup or experimental protocol, you should give numbers. For example, in speech, if you divide the audio file into, for example, into milliseconds, okay, so you need to say that, yes, we took, for example, 10 seconds of speech from each speaker, and we divided that by a window or a sliding window of 10 milliseconds or something like that. And after that, we come up with, for example, 1000 vectors representing that. So you should give numbers, okay? And you should give numbers, and also how you, for example, if you have training data and test data, how you took, for example, for each test or test segment, how you compare it with the training data exactly. So this experimental protocol, you should describe it. Okay, so this is really important. And after that, we'll have the results subsection. So here I'm talking about subsections. Okay, so the general or the section is results and discussion, and after that you have some subsections with sub headlines. Okay, good. So for the results, the best thing to do is to represent the results in a table. Okay, so you should represent them in a table, and after that you can just not discuss but describe your results. Okay, you will need to translate that table into a description. Okay, so for example, for me, I can read only the description without checking the table, and I should be able to understand what the results about. Okay, so the table is going to be just in optional, let's say optional, let's say not paragraph, but optional figure. Okay, so if, for example, I read only the table, I should comprehend, I should be able to read it, and if I see or I check the description of that table, I'm not talking about the table description, I'm talking about the paragraphs of description of that table. Okay, yes, and of course we can use some curves, some, it depends on your results. Okay, so it depends on your domain, it depends on all of that. And after that, of course, we should have a subsection of discussion. Okay, in this discussion we can now discuss the results using what I already showed you. It was about the findings and etc. Okay, so we can use that in building a solid discussion. So it's the most important thing, because the discussion shows your ability to let's say to speak about your research and to show the reviewers that you already have some fundamentals. Okay, and you are trying to let's say to give them and to prove, okay, your methods. So this is really important, and you need to be careful writing your discussion. Okay, because it's crucial and primordial. Okay, good. So an example, the example that I'm going to show you, I will start with a research paper. Okay, how we can find this in a research paper, and I'm going to show you only the I'm going to show you the only the section of the results and discussion. Good. So this is one of my papers. Okay, I'm going to show you only the results and discussion section. Okay, so yes, from here. Okay, I called the results and discussion here because this journal, among the requirements of this journal is to write for the results and discussion to subtitle it by experimental results. Okay, so the first subsection is the data set, the corpus. As you can see here, I used, for example, a corpus of an existing corpus. So in this work, for example, we are using, this is the name of the data set. Of course, I should cite that data set, and here it's only a description of that data set. Okay, so I've got this description from this initial article. Okay, so I check that article and I try to summarize there and to just get the description of that article. Okay, so also this table, I've got this table from tables from their research paper. Good. So here on, it's only about the description of the class. After that, I told you that we need to describe the environment. So this is the description of my laptop. So the proposed method has been evaluated on this configuration. So these are the configuration of my computer. Okay. After that, we need to talk about the experimental protocol, the setup. Okay. For example, here, as you can see, we have numbers. For example, 39 dimensions MCCs. These are the features extractors are known in speech or speaker recognition. So here are the numbers. Okay, 6 hidden layers, because here it's about in neural networks, 60 neurons. Okay, so it's about matrix. It's about describing your models. Okay, so you should give a description. So It's all about a description. For example, how for a neural network, how the architecture of the proposed, for example, neural network is, okay, how to the number of layers, the number of units per layer. Okay, so all of that you need to do all of that. Okay, and okay, so it's all about that. Good. For me, I'll just give you an example here. So I say that we follow the same experimental protocol as them, because so to compare this method with their method, you should use a new unified experimental protocol, or you can rely on their experimental protocol, but you need to give this citation for people who want to know how that experimental protocol works. Okay, so this is for the experimental protocol. Now the part of the results and discussion. So I combined this part. So for example, tables 3 and 4 represents results on that data set. Okay, so these are the tables with, of course, a description of each table, and after that here I described the results. Okay, and here from here I did some let's say some conclusion, some discussions, and yes, I used also the models of that I already showed you. Okay, so this is all about the research article. Okay, so for the research article, if you have a method, okay, you can use this structure. Now if you don't have a method and you are doing a survey and you are writing a survey, so it's easy, it's not a problem. So all you need to do, I will show you something. So you can do this one. I will show you here just the table, just to simplify things. Okay, okay, I will show you that table. Okay, great. Yeah, for example, this is a table, so just concentrate on that. I will just explain this. So you have here some state-of-the-art approaches. Okay, the methods, the approach. It's the methods. For example, EDSTM, Arabet, BERT. These are the models, the state-of-the-art models. Okay, for these ones, this, for example, are recent works. Okay, you can use them, or you can develop your models. Okay, some state-of-the-art model, you can develop it and you can put it here. Great. For example, here this table is showing the features. Okay, so for each method, the name of the features, so you can use it or you can, so it depends on your domain. Good. And here we have 3 data sets, so SEM eval, RSAS, and ISTD. Okay, 3 data sets, and the authors of this survey are representing each data set using some metrics. For example, average rate, accuracy, and this one. Okay, so they are representing the results of every article. So this people are using the same experimental protocol. Okay, the same experimental protocol, and yes, we can judge now the results, and we can choose the best one. So this is the first type of the survey article. For the second type, it's, let's say, it's the easiest one. Okay, so it's the easiest because why? Because we can do something really cool. So we can, for example, if you can see here, okay, we can grab some articles, okay, some methods, we can put them here, we can cite them here, okay, and after that we can report the data sets that each paper used. Okay, we can draw it here, and we can give the results. So it's pretty much like a, let's say, a description. Okay, so it's like a description of is a lot of papers, and yes, you can use that. So you have now 3 ways to do it: 2 ways for a survey paper and 1 way for a research paper. So I think that's all. I'm going to give you So we still have only 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and I will let you 15 minutes for the questions. Thank you so much. Folashwa, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Uh, all right, thank you, Dr. Soshan. So I will start taking questions from the chat section. Okay, someone asked that how is he going to match up his work to design his method? I don't know if you understand that.
Yes, so to design a method, you need to do a lot of reading. Okay, so you need to read a lot of papers. You need to try the state-of-the-art methods, and the easiest one is to come with a review. So because it's not good to lose all the efforts by trying or by testing a lot of methods. Okay, so it's not good to just lose that work. So the first thing, why not? Okay, so I will write a review article or a survey article. Okay, just write it, and after that, for sure, you will come up with an idea. Okay, because you can combine, for example, two methods, or you can improve a method. Okay, so it's easy. For example, in my domain, I can easily now come with ideas because I already have some background on what's going on that field. Okay, so it's easy for me, and it's going to be also easy for you. But you need to do an effort in reading a lot of papers, in testing a lot of methods. So this is the idea of that. I hope that I answered your question.
All right, thank you, Doctor. I don't know. Do you have any more questions? I'll be checking the chat section for questions. Any question? Let's just wait for like 3 more minutes, and if you can't find any questions, then
Okay, so just draw your question, and I will just tell you that yes, this week you for example, for people who want to, for the people, okay, I would just talk about the people who didn't, for example, has time to send me their methodology. Okay, so you still have this time. Try to send me your methodologies. So it's good because you will keep tracking of all the masterclass sessions. Okay, now we still have only 2 weeks, and yes, we will dedicate some time after the end of the research masterclass for you to come up with the full paper, with the whole paper. Okay, and send us your papers, and of course I will, and also the research team will help me to write, let's say, your research papers. And yes, we will work together on that, and we'll improve every research paper, and also we'll suggest some conferences to attend. Yes, and it's going to be a good opportunity for you. Thank you so much. Also, I think that you have some questions.
All right. Yes, we have questions now. Someone said, can we use secondary data sets instead of running our own survey?
Sorry, Folash, I didn't get that.
Can we use secondary data sets? Can we use secondary data sets instead of running our own survey?
Yes, in that was about the third survey. Okay, the second type of survey. So you can easily find some works. Okay, and try to, for example, for every work, try to summarize every work now by this way, choosing the data sets that they already use. Okay, and also the methods. And yes, just write it in a line of the table, and do the same thing for a lot of art. But you need to choose only the recent works. Okay, so I'm talking about this 3 or 2 years work. Okay, try to grab them and put them into a table. And it's better if you can specify, for example, to come with the pipeline. Okay, feature extraction, training model, and scoring method. Just giving you an example. And for example, for the feature extraction, try to specify the feature extractors that they are using, and also for the model, try to just describe their model and report their data set and also their results on that data set. So this is the idea about that. Yeah.
So another question here is, what results are valid? If I use data backdated, say 2019, can it be valid for my research work?
Yes, of course. Yeah. The data set. Let's say they don't expire. Okay, they don't have an expiration date, so you can use any data set, whatever it is. But it's better to use data sets that let's say that has too much citation, so you can compare your work if you are working on a research paper. So you can compare your work with the others' work. Yeah.
So, can review articles be used to secure competitive tech internships?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Can review articles be used to secure competitive tech internships?
I didn't understand that question. If you can just rephrase it.
I think the person is trying to see, like, if there are some internships that require you that you submit maybe publications and all. So the person is probably asking if he or she can submit a review article for it. I don't know.
So
Probably
it
that's
depends.
what.
Yes, it depends on the organization. So just I'll give you a hint about that. So for example, for PhD thesis here, for example, in Morocco, some universities require to have two research papers, not a survey paper, but two research paper, because they need to show them a contribution and to defend your PhD. For example, you need to have some contributions. Okay, so because you need to define your opinion, because with surveys, yes, you will have an opinion, but an opinion about the others' work. Okay, but I'm talking about PhDs, but for the others, I don't know. So it depends on the organization structure. Yeah.
So how do you extract the method from a review article where it's not clearly stated?
How to extract the what? Sorry.
Let me read it again. Okay, how do you extract the method from a review article where it's not clearly stated?
How to extract the review
Method
or the method from a review article.
from
So
a review article.
So in general, reviews articles has a lot of methods. Okay, so they already did the work for you, so you can just use their work, for example, and extract this methods, because each method, I think that yes, they should cite each method. Okay, so just try and check that citation, okay, and read the original article about that, and you will come up with too much ideas. And yes, you can do the same thing, but we'll always have review and survey articles, because always we will have new methods, and always we need to summarize this method. Okay, so for every year you will find a lot of review and survey articles. Yes.
So someone, I'm coming, give me a few minutes.
Yeah,
someone is asking here that if we write the limitations in the results section, are we still going to write it in the introduction section?
So in the introduction, we are not talking about limitations of our own work, but we can talk about the limitations of the others' work. Okay, so before introducing our contribution, we need to talk about the limitation, about what we found when we come here. Okay, and after that, we propose our solution. And in the conclusion, we present the limitation of our work. Okay, and the limitation of our work could be or use it in another work. Okay, so for example, for a new work, can cite our article and use that limitation in their introduction. I think that's the idea is clear.
All right. So there's another question here. What range of years article are we expected to review?
So it's the last 2 years, 3 or 2 years, maximum 3 years. But it depends on the domains. For example, in computer science, because we have a big data of articles each year. Okay, so last 3 years maximum.
Right. I think we are done here for Q&A section. If you have any more questions, you can refer to us on our Telegram group, communicate with us and ask Dr. Sufyan the questions. So thank you, Dr. Sufyan, for this
Thank you so
session.
much.
Really appreciate it. So I'll be dropping the links to our Telegram group. I'll be dropping attendance links. So please do well to fill in your attendance for today and also submit your assignment so that Dr. Sufyan can review it and start writing your review paper or your research paper. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining the session. Thank you very much, Dr. Sufyan. So I will start dropping the links right now. So the link I just dropped now is for our research group. So in case you are just joining us now, I want you to please join through that research group Telegram link that I just sent. Then I will send you the assignments link right now in case the attendance link rather in case you missed that. So give me a few minutes. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Femi. Probably you can ask the question on our Telegram group. It's because we're trying to maintain the time that it's allocated for this session. So I'm very sorry if I did not pick your question this time around. So you can just join our Telegram group and ask the question. You also have Dr. Sofian's email in case, so you can also message him and ask the questions. So sorry for that. So sorry for that. So that's our attendance for today. Mark your attendance and our research group. So also our AI book, I will send you the link now in case you're interested in our AI book also. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you had a great session with Dr. Sufyan. If you have any question, you can please check into our Telegram group and you can ask those questions. Yes. All right. I don't think there's anything else to say. Hope you have marked your attendance. I don't want to hear that you have not yet marked your attendance for this week. So have a nice day. Bye.